I remember the prehistoric era of the early 2000s, when not everything in mainstream anime was about absurd level ups and broken power systems. Characters graced the screen with their presence, and we old folk would simp over whoever we thought was the coolest. Now, every time I look at character discussions online, it's about who can beat Goku and who can solo someone else's favorite anime universe. Even the One Piece fandom has become all about absurdly strong characters over raw style and personality. So I thought it would be a fun idea to take you all back to the roots of weeb culture and talk about the 5 characters in One Piece who have the most aura. Sure, strength will be a factor since the show is about big bad pirates in the wildest sea on Earth, but the main focus will be character design and traits that make me wiggle my feet with joy. Since this is a very opinionated video, I'll mostly be focusing on cool moments that support my argument. Without wasting any more time, let's get right to it. Kicking off this list strong with a personal favorite, we have Vinsmoke Sanji. My dripped up cook boy is calm and goofy when it's called for, and becomes absolutely terrifying when he gets serious. Every time he lights a cigarette, the words main character energy run through my head. I can't explain it, but Sanji gives me major Spike Spiegel vibes from Cowboy Bebop, another show that I adore. Some instances why Sanji made this list include the dangerously calm walk into Bereti when Zoro was bleeding out. His composure was incredibly badass. As a character, Sanji's personality is quite cemented, but versatile at the same time. For example, take a look at his Mr. Prince persona during the Alabasta arc, when he took on Baroque Works and Crocodile, saving Luffy and the gang. However, one-dimensional cool characters don't have that much aura, to be honest, and a little vulnerability adds to the flair. When he sincerely bows down to Zeph when departing with Luffy, it shows his softer side underneath the badassery. Hell, even his abilities are cool. I remember watching him do Diable Jambe for the first time in Eni's lobby, casually setting fire to his leg to kick some sense into the ops. Even when everything was not happy-go-lucky, like during the whole Cake Island arc, even when everything he had built for himself was crumbling around him, he put on a brave front and chose kindness. Moreover, his emotional moments are fire, like how he protects Luffy's honor with his emotional speech about how Luffy is the captain of the Straw Hats. In the series, we see a lot of characters who like to act cool, but Sanji backs it up with action. Our lover boy cook packs a mighty punch, and just him in his black suit lighting a cigarette is absolute cinema. These moments don't change the ranking much, but they add flavor to an already spicy character like my beloved Sanji. Plus, what is cooler than having morals like never breaking his chivalry rule, even when he is about to die? Find me a more elegant fighter with such aura. I'll wait. Next up, let's talk about the undeniable aura of a man who looks lazy but could end entire continents while doom-scrolling TikTok. Of course, I'm talking about Aokiji, the first admiral introduced in the series. Listen, you are lying through your teeth if you don't think his entrance of biking across the ocean alone is not insanely badass. Every time the icy admiral opens his mouth, his words are soft, but everyone knows best and shuts up. Past that freezing exterior, he's a chill guy who is one of the only people to treat Robin like an actual human instead of an international crisis. Also, can we talk about how he fought Akainu in a heated battle for 10 days straight and just walked away? Hello? His sense of lethal calm carries an air of danger and uncertainty, like he does not waste motion when it comes to ending someone's entire bloodline. On a moral level, he is not one of the power-hungry Marines chasing after a rank, and he decided to terminate his service on his own terms. Artistically, Aokiji's design seems very in touch with his abilities and personality, with Oda almost drawing him like a still winter night. Moreover, I love when characters radiate coolness instead of having to yell it over a microphone, which is another edge Aokiji has over the other admirals who preach about their twisted sense of justice. I could go on and on about every single character in this lineup, but I will keep it short and sweet. Finally, I love how Aokiji carries that air of mystery around him, with us mere mortals never knowing which side he truly is on until he decides to grace us with the answer. You could argue for higher or lower placement, but the point is basking in the presence of Aokiji and how he commands rooms effortlessly. It only gets better from here, bucko! The next entry on this list is the best swordsman in the world of One Piece, Hawkeye Mihawk. For him, the strongest swordsman is not just a title, but his way of life. Imagine taking your debut as early as Bereti just because you're bored, and still somehow managed to rewrite the entire arc. Hawkeye gave us an early glimpse of the true power ceiling in One Piece, and he did it with effortless style. He uses a measly pocket knife to humble Zoro, which is iconic in itself. Not to mention every single line of dialogue Hawkeye utters feels final, with even the mediocre anime pacing not taking anything away from his aura. Listen, I am not one to fold easily, but if Mr. Mihawk walked up to me with his drippy cape and hat telling me to surpass him, I would unfortunately melt into the ground. Zero hockey needed. Moreover, he actually trains Zoro instead of being on a high horse and ending his life. The dude was not even fazed when all hell broke loose during the Marineford War, watching quietly from the sidelines. Even before Mihawk's blade is unsheathed, his sharp stare is enough to cut through steel. Plus, huge props to my guy Mihawk for not being a clout chaser and amassing his fame simply by being that guy. One of my favorite moments of his is when he tells Zoro to stand proud if he is so eager to die, which had me squirming in my seat. Even when he is doing something as mundane as cooking a meal, Hawkeye Mihawk feels like a From Software final boss. And I haven't even praised my cat this much for not chewing through my cables. All in all, Mihawk's undeniable aura comes from the details. The effortless confidence, and that hype feeling that something big is about to go down. The next character with the most aura was an obvious pick, someone who is acknowledged by the entire world's powerhouses, like Mihawk and even the Gorosei. I am talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Shanks himself. Look, I don't even need to explain why because I'm sure everyone agrees. Without Shanks, we would not have One Piece in the first place, since Luffy would be grub for the Sea Kings. Even when he was not an on-screen character, Shanks has altered the flow of events in nearly every major arc in One Piece. The absolute Chad stopped the brutal Marineford War by simply showing up due to his intense conqueror's hockey. His aura does all the work for him, granting him Big Dog Yonko status when he barely makes an appearance. When he does, though, it is always a banger, like when the government tried to stall his meeting with Whitebeard, and he still showed up like he owned the place, making Whitebeard's subordinates pass out from his swag. What can I say about a character who can humble strong admirals and make them negotiate? Like how Green Bull turned tail and ran, even though Shanks used his hockey from miles away. What puts Shanks in a league of his own is how his kind smile never leaves his face, but every person who values his life can sense the monster underneath, making sure to steer clear of the beast. The very start of the series, Oda solidifies Shanks as a big stepper when he laughs after losing his arm, simply because saving young Luffy was more important. Even his leadership style speaks volumes about his character, because the red hair pirates all act like grown men instead of uncultured goons. To sum it all up, when our Chad bro Shanks says stop, the world actually stops. Finally, I could not possibly end this video without paying my respects to the legendary man who ignited the spark for the great pirate era, Gold D. Roger. Roger, aside from being the catalyst for the concept of the One Piece treasure and being the greatest pirate king, has the aura of a man who laughed as the world was ending and decided to change it forever. Having lived out his dreams and exalted his crew to great heights, Roger made peace with the fact that his life was almost over and decided to turn himself in. Despite whatever media censorship the world government tried to pull off, Silver's Rayleigh spilled the beans about how the Navy failed to capture Roger till the end, only executing him once he turned himself in. I don't know about you guys, but deciding to bless the losers pursuing you with a fake W seems pretty badass, which is what Roger did when he was already close to death. Even on the Logtown execution platform, he died smiling, his majestic aura piercing through the very fear of death. And just by uttering a few words, he created the Great Pirate Era. Even the marine legends in the series talk about him in awe, remembering him as a beastly man who clashed even with Whitebeard, Garp, and even Rocks-level monsters in their prime. Nothing, and I mean nothing, including disease, loss, and a ticking time bomb of lifespan, was enough to rid Roger of his smile. His crew loved him purely out of respect, and not out of fear, like a lot of subsequent pirate crew dynamics. Even after becoming a mere name in history, Roger can shake entire governments, showing off his posthumous aura. Perhaps the best part of his character is how he left behind a legacy of mystery and adventure instead of a tyrannical abuse of his power till the very end. Gold D. Roger, the king of the pirates, lived the way he wanted. Even if we did not get to see much of him, we just know he's that guy. Well, that wraps up today's video on the 5 One Piece characters with the most aura. I hope you enjoyed, and comment down below a character who might give these entries a run for their money. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. If you don't, I will blast away your existence with some deodorant hockey.